What's going on, guys? Python here. Just wanted to talk about mixing and the art of mixing and what's called Yomi in the FGC, which is, I believe it's a Japanese word that means mind reading. Just getting your opponent's head. Um, it's something you need to really consider and think about when you really want to be a good mixer. Especially offline, the meme is that, with Sub-Zero, it's mindless mixing, especially in like high pings online and stuff like that. But if you really want to, if you want to consider becoming a good mixer, you have to think about Yomi and people's blocking habits, like are they going to block low or block high? Your own conditioning habits, are you conditioning them well enough to block low so an overhead will be effective? Uh, so yeah, but instead of Sub-Zero, I want to talk about Scorpion's Misery Blade, which is a good example of kind of a 50-50 aspect of a move, but it's not the main focus of the move. It's kind of like some spice added to it to make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more creative. I believe that this is a very underrated move, and it's one of the few times where I think people say that it's not worth 2 slots, but it is worth 2 slots because despite the so-called whiffing issues, which to me are not that bad if you know what you're doing, and if you consider spacing and stuff like that, because if you space things right, then it doesn't whiff at all. Then it makes Scorpion strings more interesting, and he doesn't have to run away. He doesn't have to always play neutral, and then when he approaches you, he doesn't have as limited pressure tools as he does when he has teleport cancel or he's playing Searing Rage or something like that. With this, he gets a lot more interesting. That doesn't work, but the cancel does. That's only -4. That's -8, but you can if you're creative, you can get away with some shenanigans. But this covers the 2-1 string, the gap. Like with forward 3, that covers the gap. 1-1 into poke on certain characters, like with Sub-Zero here. If he tries to reversal throw, he will miss because he doesn't have the range like other characters do to just grab me out of that. Like with Noob Sidelock, that doesn't work. But with other characters, like Sub-Zero here, it does work. So his strings become more interesting. Also, the mix aspect of it is interesting because of the pressure involved. Like, you don't know if he's gonna go high or low, or if he's gonna cancel and go into pressure, or it's kind of like a 6-way mix here. Overhead, low, poke, cancel, EX low, EX overhead. So there's also the timing aspect of it. Since you can delay, that doesn't work if you wait too long with the poke. It's really just to keep him blocking. But if you cancel, you can really mess with the timing of when you want to do the overhead or the low. You don't have to do it immediately. So at that point, you're really trying to get into their head as to when, not only if they're going to block a low or high, but when. Are they going to hold it and then go high? They're going to go high and then go low? I mean, what's going on here? The timing can really throw a wrench into that. And that's one of the scary aspects of Misery Blade. It is kind of like death by 1,000 cuts. It doesn't do much damage, but it makes his strings safer and more interesting, more creative, and you can really open people up with that. Like you can get, especially with the plus strings here, like you really want to like mess with their head, just like dash in their face and do 1-1 or something like that. You can really get into some interesting strike throw scenarios on top of the overhead low. So Scorpion's Misery Blade is the perfect blend of MK11 strike throw meta plus a little bit of just a dash of MKX. Plus he's also got back 3, forward 4. So yeah, that's Yomi. Like even with Sub-Zero, like you still have to use the overhead low as kind of like an aspect of strike throw. It's not really its own thing. It's kind of like attached to strike throw, because if we're being honest here, Sub-Zero's throw / overhead meta is, I think, even more dangerous than the overhead low, like the forward 2 back 3 meta. Like because if you try to block high, you might be right on the overhead, but guess what? You blocked high and he just threw you. And then you're in another 50-50 situation where you have to guess right on, did he throw me forward or backwards? So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about. Also, check out my my guide on Twitter on the stance switching meta. I think you'll find it very interesting. Make sure to watch both parts, because if you only watch the second part, you might not know what I'm talking about. So, alright guys, have a good one.